Record to cloud. Okay, we can do that. Custom live stream and broadcast. Okay, it says that we're live here. How about that? We're waiting just pretty close to the top of the hour, ladies and gentlemen. If you tuned in today, we had a wonderful guest with us today. A young lady is going to be talking to us about, and her husband's with her. We're going to be talking about how environmental toxins enter our homes and it makes us sick. And I know that's something that a lot of people out there would love to hear, including yours truly. But I'm going to wait just for about another 15 seconds or so before we go live on the kicking off. And to do so, I'm going to have to share my screen and pay a few bills, you might say. Now, because Speakers Pathway Coalition, we put on the messages of inspiration, hope, and support. So getting ready to kick off here. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jim Grant. The messages of inspiration, hope, and support. This is another edition on this Monday. We're so glad that you joined us. Most importantly, thank you so much for all the inspiration, hope, and support that you've given us in the past. A lot of our speakers who have been here, my goodness, you're in for a treat. You're going to be in for another treat today. But first, is it okay if I share my screen with you and share a little bit about Speakers Pathway Coalition? Okay, this is our homepage, Speakers Pathway Coalition. If you see over here, you'll see TEDx Talks. We'll cover that in a moment. And you'll see what others say about us, our complimentary gifts. I'll cover that. What do we do? This is a full-blown video. Pull back the curtains of what we do, how we do it, everything. Messages of inspiration, hope, and support. Today, we're supposed to have some more speakers show up, but each speaker has their own presentation here. And most importantly, we have a write-up on them, and I'll show you about that in just a moment. This is some of the things. Okay, Dandy Don, I forgot to mention this one here. He has a free complimentary course on speaking. This is some of the things we do here. No matter what your business is, you need all these tools here. Whether you're a speaker, whether you're an author, whether you're a network marketer, it makes no difference. And this is the Wild Bunch, as I call us, the executive team. Don and myself, Bill Heinrich, Koji Samaldi, Tamara Hunter, Dustin Matthews, Sony Jackson, Preston Martelli. Some of the testimonies from some of our members, and these are some of the courses that we include. We also have a radio show called Your Future Is Now on the TogiNet, a radio station. It took us 46 episodes to surpass the 2 million mark in downloads. So we're very grateful for that. And here at Speakers Pathway Coalition, we want to provide value. The very first thing I can share with you is Don gives away his 5 simple steps to a free kick butt TED Talk. Don is a speaking geek. If you'd like to have one, just click on there. I mentioned also about speaking, how to grow your business through speaking, whether you're going to make a webinar like we're doing here, you're going to make a video, or if you're going to stand in front of a crowd. You need these speaking skills. They're the same. Complimentary gifts. Each one of our executive training directors gives complimentary gifts away there. You can freeze the screen, take a look at them. But most importantly, the messages of inspiration, hope, and support. This is where you will see each one of our individual speakers, their individual presentation. Jill Lublin, good friend of ours. She's going to be on our radio show. If you click on Jill's picture, this will be her individual presentation and a little bit about Jill. We do that with each one of our speakers. But most importantly, you didn't show up today to hear me, did you? I want to invite to the stage, let her turn on the camera and unmute Fernanda. Let's see, Fernanda, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, could you? Yes, I can hear you. Can you cut your camera on?
Yes.
There she is.
Yeah.
And we were talking earlier, and we almost ran out of time, ladies and gentlemen. And Fernando's husband came to meet with us, and I didn't even ask his name. So, sir, would you be kind enough to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, Jim. Thanks for having us. I'm Eric Furman.
Eric Furman. Well, good deal. And I was mentioned earlier that you're going to be talking to us today about how environmental toxins, they enter our home and they make us sick. That is something that's very, very important. And a lot of people are going to want to hear about that. That's why your video is going to be also on a YouTube video. But first of all, let me do two things. Let me cut off my camera and let me mute my mic because the stage is yours.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Fernanda Furman, and I'm a healthy home architect from Brazil. And one of the things that happened to me is that Eric and I, we love remodeling homes. We love being on the construction site. And we did some flips and some homes. And the last one we did, I was living inside of the house and pregnant, 7 months pregnant. I got extremely ill and went from doctor to doctor, from, all kind of different doctors, specialists, and nobody could find out what was going on with me. I had headaches every day. I had brain fog to the point that I could not even remember what my house looked like. I was not the same person. I had zero libido. I had stress. I had anxiety, and just to name a few of the symptoms. Fatigue, extreme fatigue. I was getting up at 10 o'clock in the morning with my kids on top of me, waking me up. And, it was a very, very stressful time. And even though I went to doctors, they said there was nothing wrong with me, did all the tests, all blood tests, everything just came back normal. They were still prescribing me drugs. And one of the doctors even threatened to revoke my driver's license. And Eric and I he could not understand what was going on with me, and took us many years to find the reason what happened.
Yeah, it was a very difficult time, and I feel pretty bad about it too when I look back, because I wasn't validating her feelings. And as we moved through this journey, we started finding a lot of other couples that suffered through this as well, where one of the partners wasn't feeling this. And it's usually the person that's not spending a lot of time in the house. At that time, I was out of the house quite a bit and was not being exposed to the toxins like she was. And it wasn't until we spent several weeks outside of our house over a period of a couple months on and off that I had that kind of realization that, oh my goodness, something is wrong with our home. And that's when I told her, hey, I'm sorry, I get it. And it was my mission to fix it. And it took us several years, but we basically came up with 7 really easy to understand areas inside of the home. And most importantly, not just revealing those, is finding out how to fix them. What are we talking about? We're talking about things like the quality of our water. One of the big things that happened to me was the quality of our air. We've got things like people like Fernanda, for example, are sensitive to environmental magnetic frequencies, EMF, electromagnetic frequencies. There's people like her that were one of the 25% that are also affected by mold. We had mold in our house. I mean, literally everything that could go wrong with a home happened to us. And
building materials,
yeah,
that's a huge one too, because a lot of people, when we are remodeling, we wanted to have the beautiful kitchen, we want to paint our whole homes, we want to change the floor, and I never thought about looking at healthier materials or being in the industry. I never thought that would be such a thing as an environmental toxin coming from my couch or from the draperies that we buy or the products that we use. So we had a very, very healthy lifestyle, but we never looked into those things as a source of toxins. And what we're talking about is, and we're gonna give you guys some solutions. So the first thing is identify. You need to identify where the toxins are coming from. And when you look at, when you're buying products, a lot of the times, and that happened to me many times, is that there's something that's called greenwashing. And what that is that the manufacturer will make that beautiful box that tells you everything the product doesn't have, and it looks amazing. Like you really want to get that product. But when you turn that box around and start reading the labels, there's going to be ingredients that are toxic and that will cause cancer over time, and also disrupt hormones, especially for women. So we have seen cases of infertility in teenagers even because of exposure to those toxins. So the first thing is finding where toxins are coming from. Second thing would be addressing them, removing them. And the third one would be maintaining your home, because once you get a home that it's in the stage that you want, you need to maintain it.
So one of the things that's happened, and this started in the late 90s, early 2000s, and we did to our own home, it was about 30 years old, and this is a big one, is tightening up our homes in an effort to be quote unquote green and energy efficient. What's happened to a lot of us, that happened to us, is we basically didn't have any more fresh air in the house. We had elevated levels of carbon dioxide, we had brain fog, we had all kinds of symptoms, just basically because we didn't have enough fresh air in the house. And this is happening to probably millions of homes all across America, especially in the winter time. You've got fresh air outside, which is now about 450 parts per million. If you were to have a little gauge, they're really easy to get. Anybody can have one. Challenge anybody to do that, especially while you're sleeping, especially in the wintertime when you've got the house closed up. We had 5 times those levels inside of the house. And these studies have been done through schools, but nobody's really doing them in homes. For example, in schools, they've already proven that your test scores will be lowered by as much as 12 or higher percentage. I mean, so you're just not able to think, you're not able to do these things. And right now, especially as we're all inside of our homes more, this is one of the things that comes up a lot. Easy thing to do, open up your windows as much as possible. There's other measures for sure, but that's a free takeaway right now, is get as much fresh air as possible.
Yeah, the other thing too, since the houses now are so closed up, and I heard a lot of people talking right now, we're dealing with, the coronavirus. A lot of people are home and they wanted to close up the home because they're afraid that the virus is going to come in, or they're using very toxic cleaners to, thinking that will help them kill the virus. And that is actually causing their immune system to be lower, and they are not being able to fight as much as they would if they were not using those toxic cleaners. So also laundry detergent. It's very important that there are a lot of options out there. There's some people that make their own products, which you could do, and there are a lot of recipes to do it, but there are also many companies that you can trust today that have a mission. And one of the suggestions that we give to everybody is look at the mission of the company before you buy their products. If they're just making products to make money, then probably they will let some toxins in because they're there to make money. Now, if you look at a company and you see their mission, and their mission is about, they have somebody in the family that got sick and that's why they started the company, chances are you're going to be buying products that are non-toxic. And there are a lot of them out there. So, changing the cleaning products that you use, it's very important as well.
Another very important thing that we realized in our own home is maintain healthy humidity levels. Absolutely important, especially right now. Viruses thrive in low humidity environments. That's why a lot of us get sick in the wintertime. Wintertime brings a little bit drier air. We turn on the furnace, it cracks our nasal passages and just creates a very easy way for us to get sick anyways. Right now, super important. For about $10 or $15, you can get a meter that measures the humidity inside of your house. The safe range is about 30 to 50%. Above 50%, you start getting into the mold. But right now, especially, you want to be above 30% as well. Again, safe range 30 to 50. Below 30%, you've got an environment where viruses thrive. So there are ways to fix that. Some homes need humidification, some need dehumidification like ours.
Yeah, and for people that are working from home, a lot of people now will start working from home. It's very important that you take care of things like that. We wanted to make our offices look nicer. We've seen a lot of people putting wallpapers or buying just the drops that are made out of vinyl, which are they're highly toxic. So there are many ways that you can create an office that it's non-toxic. And if you have a printer that is close to you, the printer, the ink will release the particles in the air, and the things, a lot of those things we're talking about, they're invisible. If we could put like a collar, or if we could at least, like see it, it would make easier for us to believe. But you don't need to wait until that tipping point where you're so sick you cannot deal with that anymore, because that's what happened to me because of lack of knowledge. So, knowing now what we know, we try to avoid, because it costs us less to prevent, even though upfront might seem like it's a little bit more expensive when you go buy a mattress that doesn't have all the formaldehyde. It might cost you more, but also will save you in the long run when you don't have to miss work because you're feeling so sick, or because you have a headache and you can't be yourself. You can't exercise because you feel like you don't have any energy. So it's an investment, and it's invisible. Unfortunately, you can't see it. So with the office too, it's the wireless, right? We deal with that a lot, where my router was just by my computer close to me. I used to keep my doors closed because I had to do meetings. I had to be online all the time, and I needed to concentrate. So I need to keep the sound from the kids from coming in the office. So I closed the door, closed the windows, turn on my artificial light, right? And then backdrop, vinyl, and then you have the router. So all of that will over time create that ripple effect in your health.
Absolutely. So one of the things that happens, as she was saying, is it's these little tiny things adding up over time. It's a cumulative effect. It's nothing that you're just going to, like, for example, hitting yourself, ouch, that hurt. This could take days, years, weeks. I mean, it's all over the place, and everybody's different. But as we're spending more time in our homes, we are exposed to environmental toxins all over our home, more so than we would normally be. And environmental toxins have actually now been recognized as the #1 primary driver of disease and illness. So there are solutions. That's what we help people with, is identifying these and bringing, I didn't mention that I'm a mechanical contractor as well. And with her as an architect, me as a contractor, we've been able to implement these things and start helping people. It became a pain to purpose type of mission for us.
Yeah, and one of the things we believe too is that kids are powerful beings. Our kids are 4 and 7, and just by listening to us, they're able to relate that information to their friends and talk to other people and make informed decisions. So as a mother, for me, it's very important, because I'm not going to be around them the whole time. And even when we go do grocery shopping, it's very rewarding to see your kids making healthier decisions based on what they heard from you. And it's not just me saying you can't have that, but instead it's giving them the knowledge and the power to say, do you want to have that? Do you know what's inside? Do you think this is good for you? And by empowering them also gives them that choice. They make that choice. I don't want to have this. And because they're still kids, when we go to birthday parties, we allow them to have a little bit of the things, because we want them to also feel like included. And we want them to make sure that they are making their own choices. They are not told to. So it's very important, and they're listening. So if we can leave this legacy for those kids, include them in a conversation, they are smart. And, like one day I was working with my computer, and that's another thing we do all the time. Like, I'm in a hurry and I put my laptop, on my lap. We tried, Eric, it's hardwiring the whole house, which is helping a lot. So we reduced the amount of use of wireless in our house by, I would say, 95%. But one of those days I put the laptop in my lap, and my kid is like, Mom, you can't do that, right? You're radiating your belly. So, even though when you think they're not listening, they are. So EMF is huge. And Eric has been doing some measurements too with microwaves. And how far were you able to measure?
Uh, 40 feet,
Yeah.
essentially, maybe even 50 in some cases. But yeah, I mean, this is something that most of us have in the back of our head that we've heard. And as she mentioned, we're not trying to live in a bubble. These are things that you can actually measure with instruments. These are everything that we talk about is things that have already been studied. It's all out there, but it's just now finally coming together where you can actually digest it and go, okay, this is something I can do in my home.
Yeah. And mold is another thing too, that when we had just fixed our mold in our home. So Eric remediated the whole home. And the next day when we moved back home, the house was perfect, right? So the very next day when we came here, there was a rain, like a huge rain. And then Eric looks at the ceiling and he sees a little spot, a water spot. So that's why it's important for you to understand how mold it starts. Have we not known that, we would have created probably another source of mold from the rain, from the solar panels that were installed on the roof. So knowledge, empower yourself with knowledge. There's no reason to be, overwhelmed as long as you're taking one step at a time. And that's what we try to do, is break everything up into small pieces that everybody can digest and just moving forward one step at a time. So one of the things that for me that happened is that because it was so hard and so overwhelming, I never did anything for the longest time. And this is what we empower you, to do right now. It's to go around your house, look at things that you have, read the labels, see how you feel, do a little check and see how you feel inside of your house, outside of your house, open your windows, check your humidity, check for mold. There is an air test that you can do right now, and you get the response in I would say 2 weeks. You can get an answer and it tells you everything that is in your home, and that will allow you to start taking steps towards fixing the air quality in your home. That's very, very important.
Yeah, air quality is huge. And one of the easiest things you can do, as I mentioned, is opening your windows, unless you live next to a manufacturing plant or a freeway or something. But most of us live in an area that the air outside is a lot better than the air inside of your house. So that's an easy thing to do right away. One of the questions we get a lot is about portable air filters. And keep in mind, some of them are great. We use one when we travel, but it only does one of many things with air quality. Air quality has to do with the amount of CO2, has to do with humidity, has to do with so many other things than just grabbing particulates out of the air.
Yeah, and water was a huge one for us. It took us many years trying to find the right water filtration system. So our house became a lab. Eric started buying a bunch of systems every time I saw a system here. So to the point where he actually developed his own water filtration system, that it was amazing to see how my son developed a case of eczema. And after we installed the whole house, it went away. He never had a flare up again. So the symptoms, he's still going to have it, but the flare up, it's gone. So we empower you to, take a step forward, do the test. And if you need any help, if there is anything we can help you, just reach out. And we have series of masterclasses and webinars that will help you understand those things better.
Yeah, so we are out in the field. We are doing these things. And as she mentioned, we also help people virtually and train them and empower them to make their own home healthy.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Let me just say, you guys just had my undivided attention from the alpha to the omega of your presentation. It was fantastic. And when you talked about water, I had something happen to me, that you can get this bacteria from the water that you drink. If you're over 50 years of age, it's a good idea to get tested for this. I mean, you got to tell your doctor to test the blood for H. pylori. And H. pylori is a bacteria. And what it will do to you, it acts like a spiral. And it actually will eat through the lining of the stomach wall. And it will create a peptic ulcer. You can have a peptic ulcer and not even know it, ladies and gentlemen, until it erupts. And when it does, it's not fun. Let me just say that. It took 5 units of blood and about 3 days in the hospital to get me back on my feet, and they give me a shot of protonics. It was a 1-2 type of a shot to seal that thing. But most importantly, this might be a nicety to know since we're talking about healthy things. The thing that I found that really combated that was red pepper, cayenne pepper, because it restores the lining of the stomach, and it really creates an environment to where this H. pylori, that's short for a big, long name that I couldn't pronounce for $1 million, but I'd try anyway. But it will actually restore the lining in the stomach, and it kills the bacteria. Because they sent me home with that little purple pill, and I couldn't take that. It just really upset my stomach and everything else. But one thing I was going to ask you when you were talking about this, of course, we know carpet is a big, big thing. It can house a whole bunch of problems. And I've known people that rip out the carpet, and we did it here in our house. And of course, we had some ugliness in the floor. So what I did, I took a cement resurfacer and resurfaced the cement. And then from there, you can either stain the cement or you can lay down tile or whatever, because carpet, it attracts, dog hair, it attracts mold, it attracts everything that you do not want or need in your house. It'll be there. But also, too, plants in the house. That's very important, too, isn't it?
Yes, the one consideration is that you need to understand how many plants you need per square footage, but also plants can get the humidity, a lot of humidity, which can create mold. So you have to be very careful. If you're watering the plants all the time, it can raise the humidity on the home, and that could actually create mold.
Under the pots.
Under the pot.
Yeah, you really got to think these things all the way through. You don't just place something and panacea occurs and it cures all.
Yeah,
but no, it's a great point. And absolutely, I mean, bringing nature back into the home is what we talk about all the time. That's why I was talking about opening the windows. I mean, we don't think of these things. How did we live for tens of thousands of years? Species. We didn't live in these boxes like we do now.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we put in a new thermostat in the house that's got one of these things to, and all that stuff. And I'm thinking, I don't like that thing because you got to keep fiddling with it and all that. I just like the plane. If it's hot, I'll cut the cooler on. If it's cold, I'll cut the heater on. Let me adjust my temperature and just leave it alone. But anyway, I also wanted to mention to you too about the, the type of material. That's very, very critical, because so many times what appeals to the eye is not necessarily good for the body, is it?
Absolutely.
No. So you're mentioning carpet. I love carpet. Like when I came from Brazil to here, Brazil is hot, so nobody uses carpet anywhere. And so when I came here, it's like, oh my gosh, carpet feels so soft, but it's a huge problem. And even if you clean very well, you still can't clean everything. And, we suggest that people use HEPA filters if they have carpet. They use the vacuums with HEPA filters on it. Now, we had this case where a lady, she had a son that was 6 years old, and this kid was diagnosed with asthma so severe he was walking around with the aspirator, and the doctor said, this is a condition he's going to have for the rest of his life. Well, it was for the rest of his life until they removed the carpet, and the condition went away. The kid never had the asthma again. So the carpet was old, and underneath they found some, mold. They found a lot of problems there. That was what was causing the kid to be so sick.
Yeah, that mold, that's bad news. I mean, that just creates a whole slew of health problems. And Don McGrath, the co-founder of Speakers Pathway of Coalition, my partner, we moved in with Sylvia, and when they first got together, she had a place and there was something in the carpet. He says it like it drove him bananas and he had to get out of there. And when they moved, then everything went away. All the problems went away. But yeah, and that's a great point. And I love the way that you pointed out to watch the ingredients, because that's something I've said many times. So many times, manufacturers of different products, whether it's health foods or whatever, they'll put ingredients in there because I don't want to sound negative, folks, but a lot of times their focus is on profit rather than people.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it's just a cold fact. And you mentioned also about the EMF, the electromagnetic force. We talked about that briefly right before we went live. And like I tell people, the electromagnetic force, that's not really natural, is it? And it can affect a lot of things. Because
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Sorry,
because it puts off some type of a wave. It just really, that's why great chefs, they cook on gas. And Fernanda was sharing with us about, about eating off the food off of a wood stove and how good it was and all that. And, the one thing that we always forget is that when our grandmothers or our mothers cooked great food for us, they always had that secret ingredient in it that no manufacturer can match. And that's because they made it with hands of love. I mean, there's something about when they love doing that dish for you, making it for you, it's just, out of this world. And did you guys get a chance to mention your website and your email address, how people can get in touch with you?
Good.
Yeah, so our website is livewellindoors.com. And if you want to reach us by email, it's hello@livewellindoors.com.
hello@livewellindoors.com. That's your email address, huh?
Yeah.
I like that. Hello. I like that. And I really appreciate the information you've shared with people, because this is going to be a huge interest to a lot of people, because, we need to get out there where our immune systems do need a little bit of a workout. And there's some things that we can do, to help ourselves become healthy and not live in a bubble and not be afraid to, inhale some fresh air.
Yeah.
And your program today has just been fantastic. That's all there is to it. And there's some things I want to get with you on after the show, and I'll send you an email there at hello. It'll come in from, and I'll put in the subject line from Jim Grant, so it's me. So you might want to check your spam folder or whatever. But I just want to personally thank you both for sharing your information and becoming, so. And before you go, how did you get down this road to become so involved and have so much knowledge in this?
It was an accident, truly. It's a pain to purpose mission. I saw her get sick, and as we were looking into the causes of that, her getting frustrated, going to traditional doctors, having no answers, and me finally figuring out step by step, okay, I got the air mastered. Okay, then this. And we met all these people. People needed help. And so that's what we're doing, is helping people. And
it's like, it was very tough because not being validated. And there are a lot of people that are like me out there, and the majority are women. And we hear like couples that got divorced, many couples that got divorced because of this, many kids being disciplined, because they're behaving correctly, while what's going on is hormone imbalance and all the things they're being absorbed in their bodies. Mm-hmm. So from the soaps, from the food, from the air, the water. So it became like, it was so painful to me to be threatened. And until when this happened, we found a naturopath doctor. She took over an hour with me. She sat down, she asked me, just by the question she asked me, we were able to kind of like pinpoint a lot of things in the house. So there are doctors now, they're environmental medicine doctors that are, they're MDs, and they're coming forward with all this knowledge, and they're able to help people. We have connected with a lot of them. We did a show that's called the Healthy Home Show. It's that we were able to connect with them. And it's hard for us to have a voice. So I really appreciate your, your opportunity to call forward the people that have this mysterious willness to find environmental illness. Yeah, that's my Portuguese.
Yeah.
So, to find a naturopath doctor or an environmental medicine doctor, they can help you. They will look at your blood test in a different way. Everything that looks normal, it's not normal for them because they're not looking at a range of healthy people.
Yeah, it's a passion project for us.
So,
we didn't get into this for money. We got into it because we saw other people suffering, and we don't want people to suffer like we did. That's really the big why.
I understand. I appreciate that very much. I mean, I was just sharing before we went live, ladies and gentlemen, that my dog, he has congestive heart failure, and what a roller coaster that's been for me. But I did not know two things that I know now. And I'm going to make a video and share this with others. And that is that dogs have holistic vets. And we have one from Florida who works with us because during this time, no one would want us within 20 feet of them, you know. And when your dog is suffering like that, you got to look for natural ways to help the quality of life.
yeah.
That's what it's about. You live in the quality of life, and that's why I'm so glad to have you guys on. And just so happened we only had the other two speakers were not able to be with us today, so I'm going to take full advantage of this because the information you guys are sharing is spot on. It's very spot on. And I really do appreciate it because, my goodness gracious, a lot of people is closed up in their house and people are running scared. And just take a deep breath and relax because, I mean, we didn't come from Mars to Earth. This is our home. Our bodies are designed to thrive here. And focus on eating healthy and just pay attention to what, Eric and Fernanda has been talking about, you get tuned into your house. I mean, if something is not right and your body says, hey, there's something going on here, start looking for answers. And again, their website is livewellindoors.com. That's LIVE indoors, livewellindoors.com. That was my broken English.
It's getting a revamp. So the website, the new one is coming up in about 2 weeks. So it's going to be good. And you were mentioning about dogs. One thing that I want to mention is that dogs, a lot of people are still using free breeds and they're, on the outlets. And the dogs are very sensitive to that. So the number of dogs and the pets in general with cancer right now, it's surpassing like being normal.
Yes.
So, for the listeners, if you have anything that has a strong smell, if you're cleaning your house, with toxic products, they lick their paws. They're right there close to the floor. And especially with the Febreze on the walls.
That's a good point because we went over to Texas A&M in College Station where we took our little dog over. He's a red healer. We took him to a cardiologist. I didn't know dogs had cardiologists till we had this problem. And they told me that they're seeing either 1 to 2 cases a day. This is in College Station, Texas, ladies and gentlemen, the home of A&M medical school there. They're seeing 1 to 2 cases a day of people bringing their dogs in that have congestive heart failure.
Yeah.
And growing up, I don't remember dogs having, anything like that. I mean, goodness gracious. So there's a lot going on and dogs are being exposed to it. Our pets are and all that. And we just need to, get more educated about this. And I know that you've got some great information there at your website. I haven't been there yet, but listening to you, I can tell you guys are 2 top caliber people. You're subject matter experts. You come across as someone that's honest, you're sincere, you're trustworthy. And I feel like right now, I know, like, and trust you. So right there, game over for me, because you're my kind of people. You're straight up, you're honest, and it just, just comes right through to everyone. So before you go again, is there anything you'd like to share before we end this for the day?
Just like to touch a little bit more on the pets, because that's a huge one. You mentioned something just like us. I mean, disease with pets and humans. I mean, just it's unheard of the numbers that we're getting today. And so, as she mentioned, the dogs, for example, I'll say, and these are the ones that we're really seeing a lot of the diseases. We talked about carpeting, right? So one of the things we learned along the way is formaldehyde in carpet can still be detected at levels that will kill rats 20 to 30 years after the carpet has been installed. So why didn't we get these things
Wow.
before? Are they making things different? Yes and no. But a big part of it is we've closed up our house in an effort to conserve energy. We're not getting the exchange of fresh air. Houses don't breathe like they did before. So like talking about thinking things through, there is a way to do it. And that's what we're trying to basically shed light on, is there's a way to still have all the modern things that we do, but do it in a way that makes sense and that contributes to health, not takes away from it.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense, because if you live in a bubble, that's not good for you. It really isn't, because you got your immune system does need a workout. It really does. And it's just, I'm just blown away by a lot of the information you shared with us today. And we're so glad, I am so glad that you volunteered to come on this show, the messages of inspiration, hope, and support, and share your information with us today. Fernanda and Eric, thank you so very, very, very much. I mean, it's very important, because this is going to hit home to a lot of people, no pun intended, because this is very valuable information. It will save people a lot of heartache. And again, ladies and gentlemen, their website is livewellindoors.com. If you want to get in touch with Eric and Fernanda, please just email them at hello@livewellindoors.com. Our time is gone. We want to thank you for joining us, being with us today. I sincerely hope that we've shared some great information with you. Be sure to go to speakerspathway.com. Their individual presentation, minus me, will be there when we get done editing the film and all. But most importantly, share this information with others. Go to their website and share the information that they're sharing with you to be able to help others in their hour of need. That's why we're here. Like I tell people, look at your thumbprint. That's how special that you are. And your mission in life is to use your gifts, your talents, and your specialties to leave an imprint on someone else and change their life. Fernanda, Eric, thank you so very, very, very much from the bottom of
Jim,
my
can
heart.
I make an extra invitation?
Thanks, Jim.
Sure,
We're having
sure.
a master class. That's going to be a 5-day master class. We're going to go deep into water, air, EMF, mold, if anybody is interested. It's a free master class, and we're going to have replays as well. And it's going to start on May 18th. We're going to have that information on the website.
Okay, good. That sounds real good, because I want to be interested in that, because a lot of people saying, okay, rather than play a game, I think I'm going to learn something about my house and being healthy. It'd be a very productive time. It'd be a good time to invest in yourself, invest in your health, invest in your home, and invest in your pet's health. It's a win-win-win situation.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you again. Really do appreciate it. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Share this beautiful message that they delivered today with others. Most importantly, thank you for joining us today. You're the reason why we're here. Hope you have a blessed day, a wonderful day. I'm Jim Grant. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.